Hello, Dominic here from the Bournemouth Writing Festival, and I'm starting a brand new series, having a chat with local writers and authors who are part of our writing community here in Bournemouth. And I'm going to try this over the summer and see how it goes. And I'm planning to release one every Monday evening. So you subscribe using the button below and get some tips, get some advice, maybe some inspiration, or just hear some other people's voices that might encourage you to get writing. So first up in this series is Ann Stokell, who has bravely volunteered to host a Writers' Haven. Now, a Writers' Haven are informal writing groups that happen in BCP libraries. Now, BCP stands for Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, and that's our local council. And we have been working together with BCP libraries to host these very informal writing groups with volunteers who have put their hand up to say, yes, I'm going to host a writing group to meet other writers, because as we all know, writing is a lonely business. So it's great to know that there's people in the community that are willing to give their time and host a writing group in our libraries. So hello, Anne, welcome.
Hello, Dominic. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining me today. So Writers' Haven, so you went to the Writers' Havens in Christchurch Library. So what encouraged you to turn up in the first place? Maybe let people know what to expect. Why you decided to carry on after Alice May left.
Well, Dominic, the main thing that drove me there in the first place was the fact that I think writing can be quite a solitary existence. And I wanted to meet up with others who shared my passion for the subject, and also to share encouragement in our efforts and to help each other along the rocky road, because it can be quite rocky, especially when you're on your own. And I decided to take over the running of the group from Alice when, unfortunately, she could no longer continue, because she'd put in such a lot of effort to get the group off the ground. And I also knew by then that several of the other members wanted the group to continue, and we had quite a lot of fun together, and it would have been a great shame if it wasn't able to continue. The group is very friendly and helpful, with each member bringing something different to the table, which is perfect for writers. It was during one of the meetings that I had one of those amazing light bulb moments on how to take my novel forward. And that was all because of a random comment that somebody made on a completely unrelated subject. So it really does go to illustrate that, you might think that a writers group isn't for you, but actually do give it a try.
So many writers that I speak to have said being around other writers is so helpful. Not just, as you said, you rightly said, it's a solitary business, isn't it? Sitting behind your laptop, but just knowing that somebody's there, that somebody's got your back, and having that community feel is so important, I think. And so many people that I meet within the Bournemouth Writing Festival would say the same thing. So if somebody's never been to a writing group before, and maybe from your experience of the Writers' Havens or any other writing groups you've been part of, what would you say to somebody that's never been before? What would they expect?
Well, I think first and foremost, they can be assured a very warm welcome by myself and all the other members. And I really do believe there is something in the group for everybody, regardless of where they are on the route. Because we are never, we're never too far along that we can't learn a little something new, and to share and to network with others. I think the group, what I'm planning on doing, but this is very flexible, and it will be within agreement with the members when we have our first revised meeting, which will be on the 4th of July. What I'm planning to do is run a series of mini workshops, and because these have been well received before. I've run a couple in Alice's absence, and they were very well received and enjoyed by the members, and they've asked me for more. So on that basis, that's part of what I'm going to do. I'm also hoping to allow sufficient time for others to have an opportunity to have their work critiqued, although this may be quite limited to one or two for each meeting. It's something that we will have to see how it goes, really. So, but as I say, it's very flexible, and it's all about what, I'm leading the group, but it's not my group per se. It belongs to the members, for them to decide.
I think that's a really important point, because I've been to a couple of the other writers' havens, and we've said it's very informal, it's very flexible, and it's all based on the demands and needs of the people that turn up, isn't it?
Yes, but I do think you need to have a little structure there in the first place. And then we can build on that structure, or we can dismantle it in whatever way we decide, and rebuild, so it's fine.
Amazing. So, Anne, tell us a little bit about you. So I know that you used to be an auditor looking at fraud. So
yes, for my sins.
How did you go from being an auditor to writing?
Well, I've always had a passion for storytelling, and I mean, my earliest claim to fame is having a story published in the school magazine, which was over 50 years ago. But it doesn't get much more exciting than that, I'm afraid. I did have a small article published in Reader's Digest many years ago, but then writing isn't something I really picked up until recently, again, when I retired. It's always been on the back burner. It's always been, yes, I'll do it one day, and suddenly you think, well, how many days got left? I need to get going with this, and let's really pull this out of the bag. And I think also because we live in such a beautiful setting down here, and setting is very important for writing, and I think it would be almost criminal not to write when you live in such an absolutely wonderful area. I think also, I think being an auditor, I learned quite a bit about fraud and investigations and procedures for court, and lots of other things. And I've always had a very level interest in crime per se. And I read, most of my novels I read are crime, and that's the genre I prefer to write in. So it just seemed natural to progress in that direction, really.
That's brilliant. So, and using your experience and putting that into fiction, I'm sure there's a lot of kind of fact, real life cases in your work as well, which you're probably not allowed to tell anybody about.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So let me ask you a question. So what's your why? Why do you write? What do you enjoy about it?
I think I enjoy the satisfaction of being able to sit down, and it is a craft. And I think the enjoyment for me ultimately will come when I finish this novel, which has been ongoing for quite a while. But I'm now hoping, especially I have to say, the Bournemouth Writing Festival really gave me a kick, and said, come on, rev up your engines and get going, girl. And I've since been on a writer's retreat away for 6 days in Yorkshire, which was absolutely wonderful. And so it's just the joy of expressing yourself, and I do feel I have something to share. And yeah, I do enjoy writing short stories as well, which can be a mix sort of way. They're very much they have been described by others as quite dark. Maybe there's another side to me, who knows. Yeah, so when I find I'm getting stuck with my novel, I turn to and I produce a short story, and then by that time something comes out in the short story which actually helps me forward with my novel.
And that's a great tip. And I know so many writers, when they're in the midst of their novel, when they maybe get a bit of writer's block, they go off and write something completely different, a short story, a paragraph, just to kind of switch their mind away and give them a little bit of a break from their main novel. And then they switch back and they've got this new perspective, a new bit of narrative, or thought about their character in a different way.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So as you said, that writing is a journey, and you're kind of on this journey to complete your first novel. Where would you say your challenges are, and where would you say your successes are in your journey at the moment?
I think for me, obviously, I'm not a successful published writer. I'm not an unsuccessful one either, because I've never attempted it. So there is a difference. But for what I lack in having been published, I more than make up with in enthusiasm. And it really is great fun, and you get to meet such a lot of people, because I've enjoyed doing a lot of research for part of my book and meeting different people. I think the challenges can come with the research, because depending on what sort of novel you're writing, I think it can be quite difficult to get the information you really want sometimes, and you feel that, you know, you're not really getting on, your writing is stagnating because you need the research. But I've had a tip very recently that actually you should just write your novel and then dovetail the research in afterwards. And I think that's quite a great tip, you know, to get bogged down with getting everything correct, allow it to flow and then do it afterwards.
That's definitely my technique, is just get it all out. So I've got this idea and I've got my plot structure, just get it all out and then I can go back. Because then I think once I get it out onto the page, then I can see where my characters have taken me, where the story's taken me. Because I did at the beginning kind of go to, okay, what's the detail there? You know, is that factual? Is that wrong? And going onto Google and doing research, and it kind of blocked me. And I was like, you know, I wasn't, you know, and then I wasn't in the flow anymore. And in the end, I just said, you know what, I'm just going to let it all come out and see what happens. And then I can go back and edit it.
Yeah, it's pressing the release button, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So are you going to give us a little taster of what your novel's about? Have you got an elevator pitch yet? Can you tease us?
Well, I've got a couple on the go. One of them is basically about it's about a solicitor who's a little bit different from the norm. He supports all his legal aid work. He produces all legal aid, and he absolutely loathes the police, and because he doesn't feel there's justice for people that don't have money. And basically it's the story around him. That's the one I got a bit stuck on, but the one I'm working on at the moment is about a man who's found dead in a flat. And yeah, there's a lot more to his life story than anybody ever realised, and obviously I can't say any more because it would be issuing some spoilers for somebody who might want to read it at a later date.
Okay, so where do you see your writing going? Are you hoping to be published or self-published, or is that not really a goal for you? What's your end goal?
I haven't really thought that far ahead. I have to say, I don't have any great ambitions. I'm not looking to be another J.K. Rowling, you know, or anything like. I would just be very happy to finish a book and publish it, whether it was with a publisher. Probably likely to go down the self-publishing route, if I'm honest, because I don't see myself as being put under pressure to produce another book and another book, because that would take away the enjoyment for me. And it's not about the money, it's just about the satisfaction of having finished a book.
I love that. I love that so much, that you're writing because you love it, for the passion. Let's see what happens down the road, you know, and you know, and that takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Because I know some people like to be published, and that puts so much pressure on them because it has to be good enough, and that they kind of lose a little bit of the joy.
Yes, it's another side to it, of course. I mean, sometimes people thrive on pressure, don't they? And some people, I'm sure, have probably produced a lot more by being under pressure than they would have done if they hadn't have had that pressure. So it's, you know, everybody's different.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much, Anne, for your time today. So do you want to give again a little plug as to your Writers' Haven that's going to be in Christchurch?
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to say that everybody is absolutely welcome wherever they are in their writing stages, you know, whether they're a complete beginner or whether they're a published person, you know, you will be more than welcome. The main thing is we want to have fun together. I think that's my clear theme. And one other thing I forgot to mention, if it goes well and everybody, you know, which I'm sure it will, and we all gel and everything, I would probably like to slot in an extra meeting once a month outside of the library venue, somewhere within the conurbation, either a social meeting just to get together to see how we're getting on with our projects, or to look at a different setting and maybe bring ideas, or a combination of both. But that will be down to the members to decide when we get to know each other and how everybody feels about that. So yes, I'm really excited about taking this forward, really excited.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. And so just remind everybody how often it is and where and what time.
It's first Thursday of every month, and it is in room 9, Christchurch Library, which is on Christchurch High Street. and it is 10:30 to 12:30. So just remember that the next meeting on the 4th of July is election day, and there is a polling station right next door to the library, so the car park may well be full. So just allow a bit of extra time.
Okay, that's wonderful. And yeah, something new for the Christchurch Writers Haven is that there is a private room that it's going to be held in, which is wonderful that BCP Libraries have given that to us. So thank you to them, and thank you to you, Anne, for joining me today and talking about your writing journey and about the Writers Haven. And yeah, and I hope the enthusiasm keeps up. Please, thank you so much, Anne.
Thank you, Dominic, for all you do for writers.
No problem at all. And to everybody watching this, thank you for joining us. If you are Christchurch way, please do pop in to see Anne on the first Thursday of every month at Christchurch Library from 10:30. But also, please do email Anne in advance just to make sure it's either not full or it's still going ahead, or if there's any kind of quirks like being election day, because I didn't even think about that. Please drop her an email. All the details are on the website. So I shall hopefully see you next Monday evening when we release another YouTube video with another writer in the BCP area. So until then, take care. Bye.